why don't we make some homemade ramen today? We're gonna make the broth and then, the whole thing. It's gonna take us a couple days, but I hope you really enjoy this. If you haven't subbed and you sub, I'd really appreciate it. Just turn on the notification button so you know when there's new videos. Let's do this. So the first thing we're gonna do for our broth is roast our chicken wings. We want to not skip this step because it's gonna give our broth a very deep layer of flavor. It takes longer, obviously, but it's worth it, I promise you. I have 2 pounds of chicken wings in here. I'm gonna very lightly salt these. We're going to be using soy sauce in our broth, so don't go overboard. We're gonna put these in an oven at 425 degrees Fahrenheit. That's like 218, call it 220 centigrade, for about 30 minutes, and then we'll come back. 30 minutes have gone by and our chicken wings are starting to get nicely browned. What we didn't discuss is, if you don't have an oven-proof pot like this, you're gonna have to start this on a roasting pan or, a casserole pan, and then, follow the next steps, okay? So don't worry if you don't have an oven-proof pot. I'm going to add a bunch of scallions here. All I did was trim off the heads and some of the ugly greens, and that's it. I'm throwing it in. And I'm adding 2 carrots, which I just cut the tips off and I washed. All right, I'm gonna put this back in the oven for another 20-25 minutes. I took this out of the oven, and now what we wanna do is scrape the bottom here and get all those delicious brown bits so that we can continue with our soup. So we're gonna deglaze our pan. So if you're using a roasting pan, you're gonna take your chicken and your vegetables and put them into a pot and deglaze the roasting pan and put that into the pot, okay? I'm gonna add about 2 cups of water. And we're gonna scrape that bottom. Now I'm gonna add 8 shiitake mushrooms. This is gonna give our broth a very earthy flavor. And I have a large piece of ginger that I just sliced. And I have a head of garlic, which I just cut in half. I didn't peel it. I'm gonna add another 8 cups of water. Oh man, this smells really good. And finally, I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. Okay, so now we're gonna let this come to a boil. And the minute it starts boiling, we're gonna reduce the heat to the lowest we can and let this simmer for about 3 hours. I will be skimming anything that comes up, like foam and just the scummy stuff that comes up when you're cooking soups, okay? And then I'll see you in about 3.5 hours. We are going to now cook the eggs for our ramen. As you can see, I have some boiling water here. I'm going to very carefully put 4 eggs in here and try not to crack them, okay? So we're gonna cook these for 6 minutes. We're gonna transfer these to some ice water. All right, we're gonna let them cool down and then we'll peel them. Even the one I screwed up. So we're gonna use mirin sauce and soy sauce for our eggs, and also for our broth when we're finishing our soup. So I'm gonna put a 1/4 cup of each in this bag. We're gonna put our peeled eggs now in this liquid. When you're peeling your eggs, remember these are not hard boiled, so be careful not to break them, okay? We're simply going to zip that bag and put it in the fridge until tomorrow. Our broth is ready. We're going to now strain it. There's meat in here that I'm just going to take out, take the skin off and shred and use to make chicken salad for a sandwich, probably. I don't think there'll be more than that. The mushrooms, they're very chewy by now because they've been, boiling for so long. So if you don't mind that texture, you could chop these up and mix them with scrambled eggs. Otherwise, just discard them. Okay, I have 1 quart, 4 cups of beautiful, beautiful broth. I'm gonna put this in the refrigerator, and tomorrow we're gonna skim off the fat and finish our ramen. When you're straining this, make sure you squeeze those mushrooms well, because they have a lot of the broth inside them. You know, they're nice and puffed up with that. So don't throw that out. We're going to use Japanese curly noodles for this. Chuka soba. These are the noodles that are used for ramen. If you can't find this, guys, you can always go buy the really cheap ramen packets and just use those noodles and it'll be fine. We can't cook our noodles inside the broth because they will get very starchy. So these noodles cook in 3 minutes. I have boiling water here, we'll put them in. Once these are cooked, I am just going to simply drain them into a colander and wash them off with cold water and set them aside. The reason I like making this broth a day or two earlier is because all of the fat congeals on top, as you can see. That's very easy to remove. We're just very carefully going to scoop it out. Make sure you're not throwing out valuable broth though. Now, notice that this is congealed and it's all that collagen from the wings. Oh, I love this. Once it's warmed up, it is fantastic. Okay, I started heating the stock. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of soy sauce in here. Remember, I have 4 cups of stock in here. So if you have more, adjust the mirin and soy sauce, okay? And now I'm adding 1 tablespoon mirin. I'm gonna taste that and see if I need to add salt. No, but it's delicious. We're gonna heat this through and serve. I have some of those seaweed snacks at home, so I'm gonna cut them in ribbons like this to serve on my soup. You don't have to. You can use bamboo, you can use just scallion and egg, whatever you want. We're not gonna add any meat to this, but you can add chicken or obviously pork belly, the chasu, but you know, you have to make that or buy it. We're gonna keep this simple today. Let's also cut our egg in half. That's beautiful. This egg was in the fridge in that bag all night, and you can see the color. It's a little bit gray, it's delicious. I'm gonna scatter some chopped scallion on here, some of that nori, and our egg. Oh yes, 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 yes. I'm also gonna drizzle a little bit of sesame oil on this. Also optional, guys. Not much, I don't want it to change the flavor. Just, how gorgeous is that? Let's taste this. Man. The only thing this is missing for me is some spice. So I'm gonna add some jalapenos to this. But it is delicious. That broth is something else. Oh my gosh. Let's see the egg, one of my favorite things to eat with ramen. Perfect. Everything about this is worth all the work. It is very good.